What an insufferable little... Oh, hi! How are you? Welcome back once again. It's time for the show. Maybe a little bit of a hot take here. I mean, why is Rachel Zegler so insufferable and unlikable? Wow, Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's time for a hot take. And I'm just astounded by this. I'm an old man now, too. This individual is 22 years old. She's been acting for a few years now. She got her big break when she was cast to play Maria in Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story. Wow, she was born in 2001. Don't I feel old? Well, I am old. And so she's only starred in a couple of movies. She's from Hackensack, New Jersey. And she's Latina. And I dated a Latina for 4 years. Para 4 años. Mira mi brazo, por favor. Es el alacrán. This is a loteria card. So I recognize in Ms. Zegler, I quantify it as spice. It's the that Latina quality of just feistiness, no nonsense, don't take bullshit, and a self-possessiveness. I don't mean that in a negative way either. These are attractive qualities, and so I say that with respect and admiration too. So I mean, I recognize these. Her mom is from of Colombian descent. Her maternal grandmother immigrated from Colombia, and her dad's of Polish descent. And I love Polish people. I grew up in a neighborhood of South Boston, Massachusetts, so close to Dorchester that I had we had a Dorchester phone number. But so close to Andrew Square. Andrew Square was right next to a big Polish neighborhood. You had the Polish American Club. You had DJs, otherwise known as Rzeszek, which was a Polish corner store. It was a corner store, and they sold lots of Polish foods. And they had these little gingerbread biscuits that were covered in dark chocolate. They had this dark rye bread that would sell out really quickly. You had to fight the babshkas for first thing in the morning. Babshka's a terminology for a Polish grandmother. And so you burn some kielbasi, some mustard on this dark black rye bread. Delicious. Ever have sour cream on pancakes or guamkes? So I mean, like, I dig. I honor overall. You know what? I dig her. I think she's wicked cute. But like, she's a kid. She's 22 years old. But she's also been cast in the Disney live-action remake of Snow White. And there's been this, if you are tuned in to YouTube and social media, then you cannot avoid the shitstorm that is Rachel Zegler. She hasn't even gone to college yet. I've been reading from the wiki. I love reading from wikis. So I know she's graduated from high school, and she got basically hired in January 2018. Steven Spielberg posted an open casting call via Twitter for the new film adaptation of West Side Story. Zegler, then 16 years old, responded to the casting call's tweet with videos of herself singing Tonight and I Feel Pretty. And she was selected out of 30,000 applicants for the lead role of Maria. So she went from high school kid to star, like, overnight. And so, I mean, but now we're in the middle of the SAG-AFTRA WGA strike in Hollywood. That means the Writers Guild of America are striking for better rights and more more protective residuals, especially in the changing face of media, going forward, and to to better protect themselves and their creations. Along the way, too, the Actors Guild, they're showing solidarity and they're striking as well. So there's this famous quote, there's this like now legendary famous clip of her saying, "If I have to dress up as Snow White and stand around for 18 hours, you're darn right." This is a paraphrase. You darn tootin' that I'm gonna get paid for every second that I'm on streaming. And you know what? I like that. I like that a lot, and I can stand behind that. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a lewd way. I'm old enough to be your dad. Okay, so I'm like, I'm too old to crush over little ingenues. But Gal Gadot, that's a different territory. She's a mom of 3. Wow, she was great. My Wonder Woman. Yeah, well, I got Linda Carter too. But so in this legendary interview clip, it's just she comes off as smug, arrogant, unlikable, and insufferable. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, this is modern feminism, isn't it? I have this thing like with like Brie Larson and the Captain Marvel debacle, and just like the whole thing about her, and it's just like it's happening all over again. There is this, attitude that you don't have to be likable to be respected, but there's an insufferability to it. What does insufferable mean? Let's look it up on the wiki. Insufferable meaning: too extreme to bear, intolerable. And I know because I'm an only child from a single mom, and there was no one more attention-seeking than yours truly here as a small child, and pretty much until my 30s, I guess. If I'm to, I understand. And so I have been insufferable. I did not value the impact that I had on others. Or I just didn't care. It's not like I didn't care. It was just more of like, I really didn't really realize it until later on in life, like basically into my 30s. And that's maturity, and that's growing up, and seriously, the growing up is getting pushed back, or getting further and further pushed up. I mean, here in Boston, film pre-recorded live before a studio audience of my stuffed animals from our Boston studios. I take public transportation. We call it the MBTA, the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority. And you can see these signs saying, sign up for the Youth Pass. If you are a youth from the ages of 12 to 25, you too can sign up for the Youth Pass, a discounted fare. 25? Are you shitting me? No. 18, and you're out of the house. Seriously, I mean, the infantilization of young people, because there's a cui bono to that. Seriously. The longer you can have your kids stay as kids, the longer they can be put on your insurance, and the longer that you need to pay for their way until they get their shit figured out and get a real job and they're self-sufficient. And and to be honest too, I'm blessed with good friends, and they have kids, they're teenagers now, and they're all pretty nice kids, and they're gonna grow up to be fine adults, I swear. The future's not effed as much as we think. But this individual here, in this interview in particular, this is not the Snow White that was written in 1937, and there's no romance, and the prince won't be kissing Snow White, and it's not about a love story. It's about Snow White finding out who she's meant to be and to be a leader. And it's like, I know women love stories. I love love stories. There's nothing wrong with love stories. And there was nothing wrong really with the original Snow White, the Disney Snow White as well. But even looking back before that, yeah, we do. He's my executive producer. He makes me show notes and and executively produces the show. And thank you, Pika, for giving me like this wiki to read from, because Snow White is a German fairy tale, first written down in the early 19th century by the legendary Brothers Grimm, and they published it in book form in 1812 in their collection of Grimm's fairy tales. It was tale number 53, and in the final revision of the story was in 1854, and that can be found in Grimm's Fairy Tales of 1857. The fairy tale features such elements as the magic mirror, the poisoned apple, the glass coffin, and the characters of the evil queen and the seven dwarfs. And the seven dwarfs were first given individual names in the 1912 Broadway play Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and then given different names in Walt Disney's 1937 film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And it's also the Grimm story, which is commonly referred to as Snow White, should not be confused with the story of Snow White and Rose Red. Exactly. And but in the original Snow White fairy tale, not the Disney 1937 Disney animated classic. So Snow White takes a bite of the poisoned apple. See, one half of it's poison, the other half isn't. The evil queen bites the unpoisoned side to prove to Snow White that, no, honey, it's perfectly fine here. And so she has a bite of it, gets poisoned, and it looks like she's dead. And so while she's in the glass coffin, it gets jarred, and the apple, it gets ejected from her throat, and she revives herself. So in the most original version, Snow White does not get kissed by the prince, and a non-consensual kiss from a stalker. Like this one, like this, you say like, oh, and the prince comes off as a stalker. Well, no, the prince ends up marrying Snow White. She becomes the new princess, and for revenge, at the end of the book, the prince orders the queen be placed in red-hot iron slippers and dance to death. I wonder how many of these trappings are going to end up being in the new live-action movie, which doesn't have seven dwarfs. It's got seven, people. It's I think Snow White and the seven progressive liberals. I'm in the middle. I can say dopey shit like that and not care, because I think the radical right is pretty dopey as well. You know what I mean? And maybe they should have made an orange man bad dwarf to like be dopey or something. That could have been funny, haha. And but it's just the smugness and the arrogance and the unlikability. This is weird. Okay, it's not weird. It's a personal anecdote. I am a professional chef. I make food. I make delicious, nutritious, and beautiful food for all people. I'm not going to judge anyone based on their politics, their ideology, their gender, their color of their skin, what flag they fly, anything. Even if you have got special considerations, maybe I got something special for you too. Like younger people are very conscious about what they eat. I know how to make really good vegan food. You won't even care. It's that good. My vegan chili is outstanding. But I mean, it's about hospitality. I am in the hospitality industry. This person is in the entertainment industry. So we have actually, if you took the two circles and made a Venn diagram, there's in the overlap, you're going to find pleasing guests is part of the overlap in that Venn diagram. Remember, this is all my opinion, so if you got something to say it. Why not? Ha! I am. In this Venn diagram, the overlap is about welcoming the guest, welcoming the customer. It's one of the Disney principles. Disney used to be, for me, a personal standard of hospitality, because they were the top shelf when it comes to how you treat a guest, about guest obsession, about it's always yes, never say no, and to they even have a song in it, from Beauty and the Beast, right? It's Beauty and the Beast, right? Well, let's look that up real quick. Be my guest, be our guest. It's by Angela Lansbury, yeah, and Jerry Orbach, and it's from Beauty and the Beast, and be our guest. Do you feel welcomed by this individual? Do you feel this individual is being hospitable, that wants to welcome all of us into going to see this movie, and to all of us to be entertained by this? Hell no, I don't feel that one bit. This individual hasn't even been to college yet, so they haven't taken gender studies and become insufferable. There's an active ingredient in my hot takes. It's called satire. Okay? Your trigger warning, please. It's like, wow. It's like nobody's telling, this person doesn't have an agent saying, can you please tone that down, a bit, please? Can you please be hospitable to the guests? Can you please be welcoming and not try to be off-putting? I get it. She's a firebrand. She's a hot ticket. She's a firecracker. I like that cut of her jib. I really do. Like I said, I had a Latina girlfriend for 4 years. Para 4 años, mi corazón. Ay, ay, ay. Woo! Caliente. And I work with I'm a chef. Most of my crew are first generation Americans or naturalized citizens from Central and South America. Mi gente. I speak Spanish badly, but I have so much respect for mi para mi gente. They feed me too. I papusa. I love the food. I love their women. I love their people. Yeah, they have a way of themselves, sure. But guess what? So do my people too. Culturally, I'm Irish. I'm not gonna, but it's like, we have our way too. I get it. Have you ever heard the stereotype of the fiery Irish redhead woman? It's a lot like this young lady. But to be a professional actress in this day and age, where it's hard to have compassion for, well, for me, it's not hard to have compassion, but it's hard for me to want to side with the writers and the actors when they love to lecture us. I don't want to be lectured. I want to be entertained. Seeing this individual being insufferable and unlikable, trying to sell this movie. You're not selling me movies. You're selling me division. You're selling me something. I don't want to go see this movie. I'm not going to see this movie. I don't think it was made for me anyway. I haven't seen any of the live-action Disney remakes anyway. I've seen all the Disney classic animated ones, sure. I grew up in a time where just Disney was like number one. Maybe it's just youth. Maybe it's sudden stardom. Maybe it's, and to be honest too, I want to be fair and check our biases at the door too. Now, if she was more center rightish, saying these things, everyone in my YouTube sphere, my Twitter sphere would be saying, whoa, she's based. If she was Gina Carano saying these things, you'd be getting you wouldn't be getting oh, this woke shit. You'd be saying, oh, she's based. Because based is apparently the antonym of woke. I don't even use woke anymore. This is the most you've ever heard me say it in over a couple of years. I use the proper terminology. Academic postmodern theory. But, there's a lot of insufferability and unlikability to like this kind of feminist attitude. This is a feminist movie. Then a big whoop. I mean, firstly, thank you, feminism. I want to thank feminism. Seriously, I'm a single guy, never been married, I don't have any kids. You know what that means? That I don't have any alimony payments and I don't have any child support payments. And guess why? Pretty much because of feminism. So I mean, seriously, I might, bitch and moan about being single and dying alone. But overall, I gotta thank you, feminism. You've made my life a hell of a lot easier. You're right. Feminism is for everybody. Welcome to the hot takes. I hope this individual, because she's very pretty, she's very talented, and I hope she has a long, strong future ahead of herself. But geez, man, I mean, and here's another part about bias too. I mean, if this was a guy acting this way, I mean, I don't know, Simu Liu acts like this too, and I don't like it. I mean, it's got nothing to do with the outside packaging. It's got everything to do with this kind of like this energy of like this lecture energy. I don't want to be lectured by any, professional pretender. I work hard for a living. I just so does everyone else I work with, and most blue collar people too. So I don't know. I don't have answers. All I have are more questions. And this is just a hot take, but like, why is Rachel Zegler so insufferable and unlikable? Gosh, I mean, I feel bad for her boyfriend. I've lived it. I mean, no. I bet you she's a nice kid, and maybe this is performative. Maybe this is part of that fantagonism trend we're seeing in the past couple of years. And it's about being mouthy. It's about being arrogant, and it's about riling up only the right people are mad. I mean, don't you want to serve everyone? Maybe you don't. I don't have a choice. I want to serve everyone. How can I help? I mean, I can't pick and choose who my guests are. I serve everyone. I mean, for the kids, the old people, the cops, and maybe even the robbers too. Who knows? I definitely serve people from both sides of the spectrum and both sides of the political spectrum. People that will only get along at Kiss concerts. Singing "I Want to Rock and Roll All Night," and if they only knew who the other one voted for, they'd be at each other's throats. Something like that. But I'm a chef. I mean, I'm a professional. I would never act like this in front of my guests. That's privilege. You want to talk about toxic? You want to talk about privilege? I give you Rachel Zegler. This is an example. But she is young, and she is taking the lead from what she's been shown to be an appropriate way to handle the press and the fans, especially the fans that are pushing back on her. Now, she's gotten a lot of crap because of this of her race, about being cast as Snow White. I mean, Snow White's a white woman. Snow White's a German woman. Motherfucker, she's half Polish. What's right next to Germany? Fucking Poland. Snap out of it. I'm not buying that. But I'm also not buying a movie ticket. I don't want to reward this kind of shitty attitude with patronage. I mean, there's a way to talk to the press and a way to talk to people. If you want to bitch about the guests, you do it downstairs and off the hotline. It's nowhere in earshot of where the guests can hear you. Go vent somewhere else. You go vent downstairs. You go vent in the loading dock. I mean, but she is young, and hopefully she'll snap on of it and have a very long career. And she's very talented, and she's very articulate, and she's very headstrong. Like I said, hey, me gusta las Latinas muchos. I do. They got that. She's got spice. She really does. I loved what she had to say about the 18 hours in costume and getting paid for it. I didn't mind that one bit. I do mind the smug, thing. I mean, like, it's unlikable and insufferable. And, well, but she doesn't make movies for me. So, will the Snow White movie be memorable? Who knows? I'm thinking also of something else. I'm a huge comic book fan. If you're a fan of the shows here, I'm a huge comic book fan. I used to read something called Why the Last Man. It was a comic book series done by Vertigo on DC Comics that ran from September of 2002 to March of 2008. And it's about the world. One day, every man on the planet drops dead, except for Yorick Brown and his monkey, the male ampersand. But every other male mammal mysteriously dies. And this is the life, this is the world going on. And it was really an interesting thought experiment. What would the world be like? And a couple of years ago, the show was adapted into a TV show. And the series began development at FX in October of 2015. The pilot was ordered and filmed in 2018, and the first season was greenlit in 2019. So filming began in 2020, and it premiered on September 13th, 2021. It only lasted 10 episodes, but it had this same postmodern, academic, feminist theory, intersectional feminist theory, and does it sell? Did it catch on? No. Do you even remember that Why the Last Man became a TV show, was here and went? It had a lot of hubbub, a lot of outrage videos out there on the internet, on the YouTubes. But it's been memory hold. Do you even remember this show was here and it came and it went and it failed because it had the same insufferable, unlikable attitude? I mean, seriously, sell your wares to all people. Welcome all people. Entertainment and hospitality. We share this Venn diagram center space of serving guests. Well, how does this serve guests? And how is this supposed to make people want to buy your stuff? I don't know. I don't have answers. All I have are questions. And my question is, like, why is Rachel so insufferable? She seems like a good kid. I can tell. She probably is. She's a nice kid from New Jersey. Went to a Catholic school. And I don't know. I don't even know what that means. I'm a nice kid from Boston, and I went to a Catholic school. Maybe that's like something like just like that resonates with me. But what do you think? Are you gonna go see Snow White? You think it's gonna actually do anything? You think it's, I'd like to know what you think. Let me know in the comments section. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. I make the occasional hot take here. We talk about comic books a lot. We talk about cooking. I'm a professional chef. I'm also a spiritual guy. I'm an ordained minister. We talk about spirituality, gratitude, and purpose a lot. And so tune in and stay a while too. Just click that subscribe button if you haven't already. But seriously, kiddo, if I was your age, I would totally, ask you out on a date. I'm too old. I'm old enough to be your old man. But so set me up with, if you got an older auntie that looks like you can call me. Oh boy. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been my hot take on why is Rachel Zegler so insufferable and unlikable? Well, she's putting that out there. That's why. And that's like, maybe what's the Beatles said best in Abbey Road. And in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again later in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.